Welcome to the Vegan Squad Health and Fitness Summit. I am John Thomas, aka the Bodybuilding Vegan, and I am so glad you are here. We have so much information, knowledge, experience to share with you, and I'm so excited for all that you're about to get to learn. Make sure you guys stay until the end of the videos. There is a huge special going on. If you haven't already taken part in it, it will be in the description box down below. And I'm also going to include the link to the VIP tickets that you've already purchased in case you want to send it to a friend. If you need anything else, reach out to me or any of your Vegan Squad coaches. We're here to support you on your journey to becoming the best you can be with your health and fitness. We'll see you inside. Before we get started, because fat loss, maybe it's scary, maybe it's hard, maybe you guys have tried before, maybe you've had success, but you've fallen off. Well, let's take a breath before we go into this. And then, for those of you that are able, if you're not driving or whatever, I'd love for you to just drop one thing. It can even be one word, something that you're grateful for in the chat. I've been trying to do this every morning when I wake up. I'll just rattle off some things. Like I'm grateful that even though I'm hot all the time, I have a fan blowing cold air on my face. I'm grateful that I woke up today. I'm grateful that I have all my senses, my fingers, my toes, my eyes, my nose. Usually Allie's with me, and so I'm grateful for Allie. She's not with me right now. She's visiting family. I'm still grateful for her. So we got Melissa, thank you. Grateful for your health. David, grateful for every breath. Yeah, man, as long as we're breathing, we're still here. Alex said this community and that we're making a difference together every day. I love that. So many things to be grateful from Chanel. Number one, her little girl. Aw. Ashley said for having food and this. I love it, dude. Maya, grateful for overcoming her fear of presentation that she just did. Oh, killed it, dude. I'm so proud of you. All right. I'm sure we'll probably get a couple more coming through. My kiddos, Oro Moon and Phoenix Moon. I actually have a phoenix on my arm. Very cool. Dustin. Oh, wow. You guys are flying through here. I can't even keep up. Dustin, the community and food. Proud of Maya. Heidi being a part of this group. And her fam. Jewel, we got Maya, you did great. All right, and this community. Okay, we're gonna actually hop in. We're gonna start talking about losing some fat here. All right, so into the presentation. I can find the window. I just need to memorize this. All right. What are you struggling with? Do you feel like you've tried everything, not seeing the results you want to achieve? I'm here to help. I want to know, like, for you guys, so that I can make this presentation specific for you. And I'll probably come back to this chat towards the end, maybe now. But if you guys want to start typing out anything specific, like, are you struggling with knowing what foods to pick? Are you struggling with knowing how to track your calories? Are you struggling with mindset? Like, let me know here, and then I'll come back. And anything I don't answer during this, I'm going to come back and make sure that you guys walk away knowing everything that you need to be successful on your fat loss journey. All right. So by the end of this session, you're going to know how to lose fat and keep it off. And if you want direct help implementing it, I'll show you how I've done this for hundreds of people. All right. Believe it or not, guys, I too was a beginner. Check out this cute kid. Believe it or not, he didn't have a green mohawk, didn't have a beard. I don't think he could even grow a beard there. I was about 14, 15 in these photos, about 125 pounds. This was way before I learned about bodybuilding. I realized that, whether you're trying to lose fat or build muscle, bodybuilding teaches you different tools that you can use. But definitely didn't turn into my current self overnight. It took a lot of trial and error and guesswork, and my goal here is to help speed this up for you guys so that when you do this, it doesn't take nearly as long for you. So I realized that I could do things, but it was a lot harder than I thought. Again, a lot of trial and error, a lot of basically banging my head against brick walls, metaphorically. I did some pretty extreme ways to get shredded too back at the beginning. Trying vegan keto. I mean, if anybody's tried it, it doesn't really make sense. You're basically doing a lot of protein powders, and I guess you can do tofu and other things, but we run on carbs. Like, humans in general run on carbs. Some people run better on more carbs, some on less, but we still run on carbs. Like, literally, this is how we fuel our bodies. So keto, not a fan. Doing hours of cardio. I still remember, like, I had like a cheat meal. I went to like this Buddha bowl place with my girlfriend in high school, and I probably ate my meal and like 3/4 of hers. And I was on this cut. And I remember going to the gym and getting on the elliptical until I burned 1,000 calories. It took me like over 2 hours. And this was back before I had an iPhone or anything. So I was just sitting there like burning calories. And like I was thinking about it at the time, like there's got to be a better way to get lean and like not feel guilty after each meal if I have a meal off plan or something. So also here, like I was a couple years earlier in this super lean photo here. And then look, like the fat comes back and it's like I could get there, but I couldn't really find out how to keep it off. So have anybody else in here been able to lose fat and then they somehow gain it back? Has that happened? I'm curious because this happened with me, it's happened with a lot of clients. I'm wondering if it's happened with anybody on this call. And we got a couple yeses, me. Yep. And David, I've seen you, brother. You get ripped. Maya, Dustin. All right. So this is a pretty common thing. And there's some things I'm going to be showing you guys that might be able to assist you on your journey the same way I've done on mine. All right. But let's get into like what this course is not. I'm not going to throw you guys some quick fix diet, some 1,200 calorie meal plan or something like that. Some crazy social media experiment like vegan keto or carnivore diet. It's also not made exclusively for bodybuilders looking to get peeled. Like if you're trying to get stage lean, if you're trying to be like Maya, there is a time and a place for that, but that's not what this course is. This is more, go to the next page. This is more like how to find your TDEE, how to track your calories and protein, how to find food that you love and hopefully love you back, finding a lifestyle instead of a diet, something that you can implement long-term, and how to effectively use cardio as a tool, but not as a punishment. So really, really big thing. Like this is a combination of practical tools that work on paper, but also the mindset and the intention behind them. So why do typical diets fail? Diets are not sustainable for everyday life. Like you have like diets like on the extreme end, like carnivore, like removing all carbs. You're kind of just talking about that, very similar to keto. Or even like I view raw vegan as a diet. So let's slow this down. I had this conversation recently. Veganism is an ethical ideal. It's just not harming animals, not exploiting animals, not using their products. There could be someone out there that is plant-based and also a trophy hunter. They're eating vegan foods, but then doing non-necessarily vegan actions. But veganism alone is not a diet. But raw vegan is a diet in the sense that you follow only eating raw foods to help your physique or help your health or things along those lines. But it's pretty nuanced. I mean, I guess in some way, like maybe it sounds, they got me back when I was 16, 17. I tried it for 3 months straight. And I believed all of the hype around it, that you could just eat raw foods and your body's going to know what to do and you're going to feel great. But I didn't feel great after 3 months. And this is like, I was still eating 30, 40, 50 bananas a day, like just to get my calories in. It didn't feel sustainable. It felt really restricting. Like I had already put myself in this vegan box, but now I don't go out to restaurants with anyone. I don't ever really take meals off plan to like go get a vegan pizza or something like that. Like I'm only eating raw foods. And I had some friends that wanted to cook raw foods and do that with me. So I didn't like fully isolate myself, but you know, like my family's already cooking vegan Thanksgivings, but now I'm going to show up at Thanksgiving and be like, I'm only going to eat raw vegan food. It just felt restrictive. Now, if somebody's watching this here, watching this recorded, and you want to be raw vegan, like do whatever works for you. I'm just saying, if your goal is like to get lean or to lose fat or to feel good, to feel healthy, don't have to go with these extremes. We can find somewhere more in the middle. The only thing I'm extreme on is vegan. I won't eat a little bit of milk. I won't eat a little bit of meat, but I will eat a little bit or a lot of a vegan pizza sometimes, or some vegan pancakes sometimes. So what I'm trying to say is, you know, for your ethics, I think it's okay to be extreme, but for your lifestyle, for finding foods that work for you, that part doesn't have to be extreme. So yeah, trying to be raw vegan with no fruits. dude, like, I mean, I guess you could eat a ton of nuts, but where else are you gonna get the calories, man? Like, that's just like you're gonna wither away. In my honest opinion, like, humans have been eating cooked food for almost our entire existence. Like, and you can also argue that we've eaten like animals, but like, I don't think we're designed to run to eat on animals, but our digestive systems have adapted to cooked foods. You just got to find the ones that make you feel good and perform well. And you can also confirm this with blood work. So maybe some people can do it. I'm not even going to say I can help you there. That's a very, very, very nuanced way of living. So anyways, more of creating something where you guys can fit this into your everyday life and still reach your physique goals without having to be as extreme there. So basically exactly what I said here. So I want you guys possibly to track, but don't become obsessive about tracking. Like, that's another extreme that we can go down. But if you've never tracked before, if you've never weighed your food before, this is going to be a learning experience for you. So we really got to find that balance between discipline and enjoyment. And I think we often like kind of veer off to either extreme and just kind of have this ping pong, and that's also why we see our body fat raise up and drop periodically. So first things first, with losing fat, really, like, it does come down to calories at the end of the day. Calories matter. Above all else, calories do have the single largest impact on your appearance. Now, this is very basic, but like, there are people that have lost a ton of fat eating only McDonald's just to prove this. And I'm not saying that you should do that. At the end of the day, if you're not getting micronutrients as well and exercising, you can lose fat just by keeping your calories low, but you're not going to feel well. It's not going to be sustainable. So we'll get into some more tactics as we move forward. So the biggest things that I really see as a coach that people get wrong, I've put the first one in all caps: not using a food scale. Because measuring cups, tablespoons, they're all kind of open to interpretation. Like, how big is 2 tablespoons of peanut butter? I guess it depends on how big your spoon is, how big your eyes are, how big your stomach is. But on a food scale, it'll say 30 grams or 32 grams. And it's kind of hard to look at that and be like, nah, it says 32, but I'm gonna log that as 16. Like, it's just, it gives you an exact measurement, and you don't have to track forever. If you even track for a week, then you'll get a really good idea of just how much food is this versus how much food is not. Another big one is allowing small calorie foods to creep in. This happens more with like competitors, people that are like really locked into their diet on the majority, but then on the side they have these little foods, and I'll cover that on the next slide more. And I think the last one that also really impacts people is having like an all or nothing approach. And some of that kind of has like a self-sabotage side to it. So, if you eat one cookie off your meal plan or off your plan that you have set out for yourself, like, that doesn't mean you need to beat yourself up. Also doesn't mean you need to eat 12 more cookies. It doesn't have to be all or nothing. And I've definitely been there. Like, oh, I went a little bit off my meal plan today, so let me just go all the way off. It's not the best mindset. Sometimes I will just allow myself to have a little bite of something. You just kind of have to also know yourself and know, do you have that control to just have one bite? Are you going to be happy? Like, I try to also be really present and think like, is eating this going to make me happy? If the answer is yes, then I might do it. If I'm like in a bodybuilding prep or something extreme, probably not. Being happy with how I look on stage, or even being happy with my adherence to get on stage, is something that might matter more to me at that point in time. I also do want to say the quality of the foods that you pick. This can be a big thing to impact your physique long term, because the foods that we have right now, they're kind of almost diabolical. Like, when you think of foods that are considered like snack foods or desserts, they're paired in a way chemically that makes us crave eating more. I have this like weird way of eating. At least most people think it's weird. They think it's unhealthy or kind of a little bit out there. But often, like at family gatherings, like my mom will make some vegan cake or vegan cookies, and I'm like, man, I really actually want those. But I know I can go eat a full Thanksgiving dinner and then come back, be uncomfortably full, eat one cookie, and then suddenly it's like Pandora's box is open and I'm ready to eat again. And the reason behind that is when we pair fat with sugar, it basically tricks our body into thinking, oh, it's time to eat again. Based on like human evolution, foods really historically haven't been paired with fat and sugar. We'll get fat like when we eat animals or we eat things like avocados. And we normally get sugars from things like fruits, but not like isolated sugars like we have now. So it's kind of rare to have fat and sugar combined. And when we do, it makes us extremely hungry, even if we've already been really full. So one trick that I'll sometimes use is I will get my dessert plate first, and I'll eat the dessert that I want first, and then I'll eat the rest of the meal, including things like veggies, other carbs, other fats, other proteins, and then stop there because it's easier for me to stop there. If I have the dessert after, I'm more likely to dive back in. So just some things that you guys might learn about yourselves or some different tactics you could try. That's really what I hope to give here is some new ways to approach this that maybe you haven't tried before. And if something works for you, awesome sauce. All right. So I want to get a little bit of read on people, and I'll go back through the comments here. Who has used a food scale? You just put yes, or you can put no. I'm just a little bit curious to read the room and see where you guys are at. Shannon, 100 pounds to lose again. Let's go. We can definitely do that. David Bailey was looking into the fruitarian diet, but realized there's no way to get all your vital nutrients. Yeah, I think there's a huge thing to be said for fasting, even if it's a 24-hour fast. I also think a fruit fast. I did a week of fruit only, and my digestion was great, but by the end of that week, my energy was kind of dropping off. I just wasn't feeling quite like myself, even on 5,000 calories plus a day of fruits. So fruits aren't going to have all the nutrients that you need, but they can be a great way to kind of cleanse your digestive system, make your, like, I feel like we digest fruits extremely well. And this is even eating like 10 bananas in a sitting. Like Allie and I would go to the store, I'd get 10 bananas, we'd go on a walk, and I just chow through them. But all right, we've got on food scales. Yes, yes, yes. More recently, yes, 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 yes. Wow. Past month, yes, no, yes, yes, no. And then juice fast for gut repair, Shannon. Great. Yeah. All right. So it looks like we've got a lot of food scale users. Okay, great. So that's cool. Like you guys are already starting to be able to track that information and know going forward. But let me show you some things that might not get weighed on that food scale that could kind of creep in here. So, this is actually going to hit a little bit harder for my USA-based people here. In the UK or other countries, they're a little bit more clear and upfront with their calorie tracking. Some people don't know this, but in the United States, if it has less than 5 calories, we're allowed to say it's 0. So what you might get is like, I saw my dad's like coffee creamer, and it'd be like this big, and it would say like 0 calories, but like 2,000 servings. I'm like, so there's probably 3 or 4 calories per serving. 2,000 servings, like there's 6,000 or 8,000 calories just sitting in this whole thing. I'm talking like the powdered creamer. Same thing with like Splenda. It'll say 0 calories on the box, but people have done the research on that and shown that Splenda has but based on the dextrose, that Splenda, like the sucralose, that is what makes Splenda so sweet. It's so incredibly sweet that like it'd be like a grain of salt per serving. And so they like cut it with dextrose, which is just sugar. So there's about 3 or 4 calories worth of sugar in each Splenda packet. And I've known some bodybuilders in a prep to just sit there and eat 30, 40 Splenda packets throughout the day in their coffee and other things. And you 40 times 4, that's 160 calories every day that's creeping in, like about the equivalent of going on an extra mile or so walk every day. Same thing with gums, like the little like sugar-free gums. They'll have like 4 or 5 calories per stick, which doesn't sound like a lot, but if you're eating like 15 sticks a day, 15 times 5, it starts to add up. And this isn't going to necessarily make or break your diet, but this is why you might be seeing slower progress. The sprays, like the cooking sprays, another one that says 0 calories with like 900 servings. But if you look on those sprays, they weigh like 800-900 grams. and I think, okay, I might be wrong there. I might have misspoke, like 200 grams for one of the spray bottles. And we know that fat has 9 calories per gram. So 200 times 9, that's like 1,800 calories in a spray bottle. So if you're going through one of those, every 2 weeks, it's another 900 calories a week that just kind of snuck in there without you even realizing. Is it less than frying your food in oil? Of course, but a lot of people don't realize that even the sprays, they'll just lay on it and add to everything. Coffee creamers can be extremely high, like even the vegan ones, like in a bottle about this size, they might have 50 servings of 25 calories. It's just another way that it adds up. Condiments, ketchup's going to be on the lower side. It has some calories, like mustard is almost calorie free, so I usually don't track that. Hot sauces are usually pretty calorie free, but things like mayonnaise or vegan mayonnaise, vegan ranch, vegan barbecue sauce, those just really add up with time. And then also when you go to eat out, if this is like something you have to do, I would be mindful of the oils that are added to food, because when you go out to eat and you have a bowl of rice or a bowl of like tofu or something like that, even a bowl of broccoli, you can kind of, if you've been tracking and using your food scale, you can kind of know this is roughly 300 calories or roughly 500 calories or something along those lines. However, if you don't know how much oil was added, it's nearly impossible. And a lot of restaurants add a lot of oil because why? It tastes good and it's cheap. And so if you're eating something at a restaurant, there's a good chance they've added a lot of extra oil to this that you just can't really visually see. You might be able to taste it. You probably are able to taste it, but visually it makes it a little bit harder. So that's why it can be harder to track calories when you're eating out. Not to say that you guys shouldn't use cooking spray, you shouldn't use gums, that you shouldn't use splinter packets or coffee creamer or condiments or oils. I'm just letting you know, these are things where I have found with my clients, they might be doing a lot of these things simultaneously, and then their progress is much slower. And then when we start to dig into more of their lifestyle, we can figure out, oh, that might be one of the things that are slowing this down for you. So just sharing some information that I don't see posted everywhere. All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about how to find your estimated caloric needs, so that you guys know like a good range to get started in. Many of you probably already know this, so I will go through this a little bit faster. TDE calculators are a really handy tool. I also have like some kind of old school numbers here that show like kind of where you might be at. This is just like a very old school way of doing it. Like roughly 15 calories per pound of body weight should be maintenance for most people. Roughly 10 calories per pound of body weight would be like a pretty aggressive cut. Like I usually don't take clients under that. So for example, like a 250-pound man that wants to stay at maintenance, 3,750 calories. Everybody hates online about like, oh, people put people on 1,200 calorie diets. It's horrible. Depends on who we're talking about here. If you're like a 5 foot tall, 120-pound woman that has 20 pounds of body fat to lose to be at your ideal weight, then you might need a 1,200 calorie diet. Everybody's a little bit different, but like that would be about as extreme as I take it off the bat. With a 120-pound woman, 1,200 calories would be like the lowest that I take it. So kind of just depends. If you're roughly sedentary, like older, not super active, 5 feet tall, woman, 120 pounds, 1,200 calories might be reasonable for you. But if you're average height, 150 pounds and active, then 1,200 calories is probably gonna wreck your metabolism. So just things to consider. This is like a back of napkin math if you're a coach, or just like kind of guessing where you want to be at. I think a better way to do it, at least until you know yourself, or until like if you're a coach, have worked with a lot of clients, to use one of these TDE calculators. TDEcalculator.net is the one I typically use. It allows you to put your gender, your age, your weight, your height, your activity, and a guess on your body fat percentage. And then it spits out some numbers as far as like where you should roughly be calories per day. So just an easy way to kind of get you guys started. But this really isn't the end all be all. At the end of the day, it comes down to finding your actual needs. It comes down to you and what you need to be at. So what I recommend, eat roughly the same amount of calories daily for 1 week. Weigh yourself every day. Don't obsess over the scale. Don't be like, oh my God, it's going up or it's going down. Like just get the data. It's just here. It's your time to observe the trend. And if you have maintained your weight for the entire week, then you found your maintenance. And then you can adjust from there based on your goals. If you've been losing weight that week, well, then obviously in this case, you would start to see your body fat decrease. And conversely, if you were seeing your body weight go up, then you're eating in a surplus. Shannon, you said you have 100 pounds to lose, so eating based on your current weight is too much. And so again, those calculators can give you like a starting point. In your case too, like when we have that much body weight, like when you go to do cardio, you're going to be burning a lot more calories than at like your ideal body weight. I've noticed that right now, being at 275 pounds, like I don't have to do a lot of cardio. If I do a lot of cardio, I burn through a lot of calories and then I have to go eat even more. So what I would recommend is kind of this approach. Find your best guess, start there, track it for a week and see what your rate of loss is. And I think that's what we're about to get into here next. Yeah, how fast can you lose weight? So I would say with cutting, it's relatively easy to figure this out. Aim for up to 1% of your total body weight loss per week. So for example, here we got a 3-pound man. I'm sorry, a 3-pound man, that'd be pretty small. A 300-pound man could lose like 3 pounds per week. A 200-pound woman, 2 pounds per week. And obviously, as you see, like if you're a 300-pound man trying to get to 150 pounds, as you get closer and closer to that target weight, your weight loss is going to slow. Just a word of advice here: when you start a cut, when you lower your carbohydrate intake, you would definitely see a pretty big weight drop that first week or so. And then so I kind of like throw that first week out. Like you could probably lose 8 or 10 pounds easily in the first week. And then it's going to go down to this like 1% per week. Susan said, do you lose 1 pound of body fat per 1 pound of loss on the scale, or is there a different relationship? Great question. Great question. That's where we get a little bit more into the nitty gritty here. Typically we can, I would say it depends on a few things. If you're weight training and you're seeing your numbers in the gym, like how much you're lifting in the gym go up, and you lose that 1 pound per week on the scale, we're probably doing two things at once. We're probably building some muscle and burning fat. So maybe in a week you see a 1 pound change on the scale, but you've actually lost, I don't know, 1.2 pounds of fat and gained 0.2 pounds of muscle. That can definitely happen. I've had clients that if I shared, oh, hey, so-and-so lost 20 pounds in 6 months, you'd be like, that's not that much. But when you look and see that they look even more muscular after losing the 20 pounds because they built muscle along the whole way, it paints a more clear picture. So what I would say too is this is why I don't want people to go too extreme and lose like 6 or 10 pounds a week consistently. Our bodies can only burn through our stored fat at such a certain speed. It's a little bit different for each person. Women can actually go a little bit faster than men. But this 1% rule per week keeps you in a safe range. It makes it a lot less likely that you're going to yo-yo diet and come down and then come right back up. It also keeps you at a rate that you won't necessarily lose any muscle, assuming you're getting protein and resistance training. So I wouldn't want you to like aim for 8 pounds a week where your body's like, okay, I'm going to lose 6 pounds of fat and 2 pounds of muscle. It'd be a pretty extreme diet to make that happen. But I have seen people do it, especially bodybuilders that are like late for shows and just really drop their calories. And so I'm looking more for that sustainable approach that we can carry over time. So, all right. How about protein though? As a vegan, nobody would ask about protein. All right, just kidding. So for like health, like if you're truly just concerned with health, 0.4, 0.5 grams per pound of body weight daily is fine. Like for my mom, she's not a bodybuilder. She doesn't really lift weights. I wish that she would for all the benefits, including for her bone density. But for her, I'm going to guess, she won't tell me, but I'm assuming she's about 150 pounds. For her, 75 grams of protein a day or even less, like 60 grams would be plenty. And she's in her 60s. So as we get older, we might push these numbers just a little bit higher. For maintenance or bulking, if you're like actually actively concerned about building muscle and having as much muscle as possible, 0.8 to 1.2 grams per pound of body weight daily. I mean, honestly, the 1 gram per pound is just like easy for people to follow. And I feel like it also keeps you relatively full. And then for cutting, we can push it higher. Like if you're trying to lose a ton of body fat and not be as hungry while doing it, you could go as high as like 1.5 grams per pound of body weight daily. Or if you're like some of my athletes that just have really high metabolisms, in your other macros are already pushed pretty high and you're just getting kind of protein on the side, we can go higher. But I would say for most people, the gram per pound is like the top end that you would want to aim for. And you can definitely go a little bit below that. I mean, even significantly below that, and not worry about losing muscle as long as you're getting adequate recovery and sleep. But if you start to get hungry, might be time to take some of those fats and carbs and trade them out for protein. Myra, I hope I said that correctly. What about people over 60? Same numbers as far as like fat loss. I think are reasonably about the same. I don't see any reason why not. This is more of your body's ability to burn fat, and that doesn't really change with age, assuming you're still being active, assuming you're still following some sort of nutrition or diet plan that works for you. Candace, I have a hard time getting enough protein in, even with the vegan protein powder. I would love to, Candace, like talk with you, stick around to the end. We could see about helping you with like a custom meal plan or seeing what foods work for you. I will get into that as this lecture goes on. Lecture, I feel like we're back in school. As this presentation goes on. And then we also have something coming up for you at the end that would be able to help you. Susan, consistently losing 1 pound per week, but definitely putting on muscle. Yep. Workout 4 times a week. Already dropped 100 pounds over 1.5 years and got another 20 to go. Postmenopausal at 69 years old. It's been a slow process. Wow, Susan, killing it. Yeah, getting some comments here, some little likes. That's really awesome. I'm really happy for you that you've done that. Like, this is gonna add such a big quality change to your life going forward. And last 20 pounds probably are gonna be the hardest, but I would bet by now you've got the processes and systems in place to get there. And I would also love to see you at the end of this presentation as well. See if we can help with that. Somebody looks like they raised their hand. I can't see because it's like minimized for me. If you wanna drop it in the chat, or I will open this up to questions at the end. But I realized somebody's right after me. I have a tendency to kind of run on. So let me like power through these slides, and then we'll definitely open up the floor for questions. All right. Can cardio alone work? I've tried it. The short answer is no. Long answer, no. I've had a friend too that was a bodybuilder, and he bought an exercise bike for his house, and he was biking like 8 to 10 hours a day. He's like, I just want to do this experiment. If I do an insane amount of cardio, can I eat whatever I want? He came back a month later, he still got fat. So the real part of this is like when we look at output, like burning through cardio, like can that really carry our whole diet? Like a mile walked, depending upon your body weight, is going to be about 100 to 150 calories burned, like on average. And your time investment, it's going to take about 20 minutes. A little piece of vegan cake, 300 calories. I've probably personally done that in like 10 seconds, but most people, take little bites and go a little bit slower, 30 to 60 seconds. So like when you just look at the ease of overeating versus the difficulty of expending those calories, it's really crazy, like the insane output that we can do cardio wise and still get in enough food to maintain ourselves. I mean, I did a 50-mile walk earlier this year. Absolutely insane. It took me like 20 hours. Thanks, Alex, for helping me get through that. It took a whole team to like support me, but like I definitely ate 8,000 or 9,000 calories that day, and throughout the whole day, and a little bit extra the day after. Like I didn't lose or gain any weight. Like even walking 50 miles in a day, you can out eat it. It's not that hard to out eat it. So how should you implement cardio? Cardio definitely does not replace training with weights. I'm biased as a bodybuilder, but for general health, I guess it doesn't have to be weights. It could be body weight. You could do like Brian showed us and do some calisthenics. But training and building your muscles does a few things. One, it allows you to do more while you're in the gym. 2, helps with bone density. 3, the more muscle you carry, the more calories you just burn throughout the day. And for like 98% of people, unless like you're a marathon runner or a triathlete, and like that's the most important thing to you, cardio should come after lifting weights. We wouldn't want to do cardio before, because lifting weights doesn't really impact your ability to do cardio very much. I mean, I guess if you had a really hard leg day, trying to do a run or like cardio after might be harder, but try doing like you're running and then go have a really hard leg day. It's just not a great recipe for success. Cardio also kind of burns the calories in that session, whereas weight training burns the calories both then and also like further on into the day and into the next day for the recovery and the repair that comes with lifting weights. So cardio is great, cardio is important, but I would not only do, you know, just cardio. I would do both, and I would prioritize lifting. But cardio is a tool, and it can help. And I'll show that, I think, in the next couple slides here. Types of cardio: high intensity interval training, things like sprints. We got moderate intensity steady state, things like jogging. Low intensity steady state, maybe like an incline walk or even just like a brisk walk. And then I say steps, self-explanatory, steps. Me, I'm a big proponent of lists and steps for a couple of reasons. I can work while I do them. I can go on Facebook while I do them. I can go on Instagram while I do them. Shoot, I could probably have rigged up a standing desk and been on my little treadmill there in the corner and done this presentation while getting some steps. It's so easy to do. The barrier of entry is so low. But things like jogging and high intensity interval training, like that has to be the only thing you're doing at that time. For most people, I guess some people could probably jog and still go on Facebook. I couldn't, and definitely not during things like sprints. The other issue, I like to lift weights. If you're doing high intensity interval training, that would, in my opinion, count almost like a weight session. So if you're already lifting 5 times a week, adding in sprints on the 6th day is going to take away from your recovery. So what I say, do what you enjoy. Like if you love sprinting and that's what gets you out of bed in the morning, then sprint 3 days a week and lift 2 days a week, and you're probably covered for cardio. If you really love jogging, then maybe you lift 3 or 4 days a week and you jog 1 or 2, or switch around, jog 3 or 4, lift 1 or 2. Kind of depends upon your goals. But again, there's different ways to implement cardio. If it's simply, if like your only goal is like, hey, I just want to get shredded, I want to have a 6-pack, you can get that with steps. So there's different ways to do it. How much cardio depends on the rate of fat loss, and like I was saying, it depends on also like if you're already training heavy with weights multiple times per week, you might not want to do as much cardio. And what about training? During a fat loss training, during a fat loss phase, training should remain the same. I'm not going to go into too much detail. This isn't a training lecture presentation, but training, whatever built that muscle for you is also what's going to help you retain that muscle while you're in a fat loss phase. A lot of people are like, oh, high reps while I'm cutting, low reps while I'm bulking. Like, no, do the reps that you're comfortable with, that's safe, that allows you to make progression. And I really don't recommend people change their training at all when they go into deficit. Why? When you're in deficit, your energy, like as far as what you're eating, is going to be lower. And so your chances to have difficulty maintaining your strength might be there. Some people can still make progress in a cut and get stronger in a cut, but when you get more advanced, it becomes harder and harder to do that. So why, if you've like built muscle for 6 or 8 months on a program, when you switch to a cut and your energy is less, why would you change the program? Now, like you don't even know where you should be. You don't know what your output should be, what your weights should be. So you kind of enter this experimental phase again. I would recommend stick with what's been working well for that gaining phase, and then run through that through the cut. Then once you're done with the cut, if you want to switch up your training, then switch it up then. All right. So putting this all together, select your target rate of loss. Start with about if you want to aim for about a pound of fat loss per week, the easiest way, just take your estimated calories, take 500 away, put your protein around a gram per pound of body weight. You don't even really have to do cardio. You can do some steps or some stuff for health, but like that alone would help you lose a pound of fat per week. You want to step it up a little bit, more like 2 pounds of fat loss per week. That's when I would say, okay, like if we're really trying to move things, let's add a little bit of cardio. So you could take your TDEE, subtract 750 calories. I'd probably still do about a gram per pound of body weight daily of protein, and then add in that 250 calories of cardio a day. I mean, that could be like a 2.5 mile, 3 mile walk. It could be a short jog, like whatever, but that gets your deficit daily into about 1,000 calories a day. And then if you have more weight to lose, it's kind of up to you. You can start to pick like what you would prefer. Would you rather, like sometimes I'll ask clients this, hey, we're losing fat. We can lose it faster if you want to. Would you rather eat a little bit less, or would you rather do a little bit more cardio? And then they can pick whatever, and you can pick whatever you would prefer. So you got your framework, rest is plug and play, pick foods you like with your calories and protein needs, the end. Just kidding. All right, we're just getting started, and I got not that much time. So best part here, finding foods that love you, and not just foods that you love, unless it's mutual. We really want to find foods that digest well for you. I really do implore my clients to show me what foods they're eating, what's digesting well for them. And I'll even be honest. You can ask Allie. I've had my months where the foods didn't love me and the whole room knew. Gas and other things like, but I've gotten mine down right now to like a science. Unless I eat off my plan, I do not get gas. Like I'm even eating 5,000 plus calories a day, doing really, really well with the foods that work well for me. So this is a time for you guys to try and find those for you, and you'll get some feedback. Your body will give you some information about what's digesting well and what's not. All right, I'm gonna catch up with the chat here just for a second. All right. Scroll up. Susan. Okay, David. Weights and yoga and steps works for me. Whenever I up my cardio, like running or biking or swimming, cravings for calories go up and I put on weight. Good point. So David is correct here. I have this counterintuitive approach for really skinny guys that are trying to gain weight, but they're like, I'm not hungry. Throw a little bit of cardio in their plan, like running or biking, and then their hunger cues just like boom, they go up. It's because our bodies are like, oh no, human, listen to me. Like we need more calories. We're going to die. We're going to waste away if we don't eat more. So I'm going to make you hungrier. So you go find it. But when you stick, like David was saying, with like weights, yoga, steps, those don't, like you can do a lot of steps and not get crazy hungry. But if you go do like actual cardio, probably going to start having a little bit more increased hunger cues. Ashley, you should try running or jogging just to see if you like it. And then you'll know. Dustin, lifting 3 to 4 times a week, bit of a box fit with Cali thrown in, and do my steps. I find running and jogging excessive for me sometimes, but do love an inclined treadmill session. The big reason I don't run, like I'm 275 pounds, whether I'm fat or muscular, it's just a lot on my knees. I've done it. I ran a little bit this year. I ran like a mile. But I feel like, again, it's what do you enjoy and what feels like good for you longevity. For some people, running just might not be it, but that doesn't mean you can't still get a great cardio. It just might mean that it looks different. Oh, you're already hungry 24/7. So running might not be good for you. Yeah, actually, maybe not. Maybe hold off. All right. So finding foods that you love or that love you. As a vegan or plant-curious person, you might find that the traditional high-protein vegan options like beans and lentils tend to give gas. We all know how there has to be a better and less gassy way. Get ready for an audible gasp from the audience, because I can't see, because this is a shocker. All right. Beans, they're not a protein food. Neither is peanut butter. Broccoli, for most people, does more harm than good. White rice is better than brown rice. I've said it. There might be some shocked children. But really, the problem, healthy food does not always mean that it's healthy for you and your digestive system. Foods like lentils and beans are healthy. They do have protein, but they're packed with fiber. I've had people come to me with a fiber intake, and I tracked it, and they were eating over 200 grams of fiber per day. It's not a pleasant sight or smell. Being a little bit silly here, but like when we look at it, like peanuts have protein, but compared to the fat, the protein is basically a rounding error. Like you don't want to eat peanut butter because you need protein. I actually have a client, he worked for UPS. He was getting 30,000 steps a day and still unable to lose body fat. It was blowing my mind. So I asked him to send me a photo of everything he ate for each meal, anything he put in his mouth that wasn't water. And it just was like a huge detective mission to figure this out until we got to his very last meal of the day. He said he needed like another 60 grams of protein, and he was just tracking protein. He wasn't tracking all of his macros. He was just tracking protein, and he was eating an entire jar of peanut butter each night. And it blew my mind because, like, I'm trying to think right now, like a jar of peanut butter is probably 20, 25 servings of 200 calories, like right there, like probably 4,000 calories or so. And just to get his protein in. And when you look at it that way, like there's a lot of foods that have protein, but they're not primarily protein. Alex did a really good job of this on his getting vegan as a protein presentation. Moving forward, like broccoli, it is full of nutrients. But a lot of complex carbohydrates like broccoli cause gas and digestive stress for most people. Not for everyone, but I'm talking like 60, 70, 80% of people. Brown rice has fiber, but again, it doesn't digest for most people as well as white rice. When you're in a cut, this might not matter as much, but it kind of just depends on you. And that's the whole point here, is to find foods that digest well for you. So what gives? Is everything I ever thought I knew a lie? Well, if you're vegan, you've probably already had this this mind-blowing explosion of, yeah, I've been lied to a lot. But it does get better. When we find foods that digest well for us, our bodies thank us. Like I said, like I've really not dealt with gas this year. I've got my foods that work well for me and I've locked them in. And in turn, I do think you perform better too. If you're feeling sluggish after eating, you're not going to feel like training as hard. You're not going to feel like going and getting steps. Frankly, you're not going to enjoy life as much. So, all right. I built out a list of the best foods that I've found after creating meal plans for years. I've plugged and played for probably 1,000+ times now with different meal plans to find what works well for my individual clients. And then I've found a list here of things that I feel are going to work well for you. So basics, basically things that I would put foundationally into your diet year round: 2 to 3 varieties of fruit. Berries contain antioxidants and some well-digesting fiber. The fiber in berries doesn't seem to negatively affect digestion as much. Bananas, same thing. High carbs, and they do have a lot of potassium. The fiber in bananas doesn't seem to bother me and my athletes as much. I literally eaten 10 bananas plus in a sitting. Big contenders here: mango, pineapple, papaya. They contain enzymes to help with protein digestion. So definitely, if you can add a little bit of mango, pineapple, papaya year-round, you're going to feel even better. Couple varieties, 2 to 3 varieties of veggies. I usually say something orange. You get vitamin A with orange vegetables, so sweet potatoes, bell peppers, pumpkins, carrots. Because technically, I think pumpkins are a squash, which is like a fruit, but I'm considering it a vegetable here. I guess tomatoes, same thing. Tomatoes are very, very high in potassium. People say, oh, I need to eat bananas to get potassium. Beans, again, got to be careful on how much, but tomatoes, pasta sauces, extremely high in potassium. Going to help with your performance, help prevent cramping, just really healthy for you in general. And then something green: spinach, asparagus, green beans. Those seem to digest well for the majority of people. For healthy fats, hormone balance, I really feel like flaxseed is great, but you need to grind it up. If it's not ground flaxseed, your body won't digest it. And then chia seeds, I didn't put them on here, but that's another good one. For health in general, nuts or nut butters, avocados, sunflower seeds. For digestive support, I'm really big on adding these. This is something that basically almost all my clients get in their meal plans. Some kind of vegan yogurt. They have almond yogurt, soy yogurt, coconut yogurt. I'm sure there's more. Cashew yogurt. And then some type of probiotic food: sauerkraut, kimchi, kombucha, and then apple cider vinegar as well. If you're having digestive issues, try 15 milliliters, same as 15 grams of apple cider vinegar mixed in yay amount of water in the morning before your first meal. It should help you digest that meal. People that are looking for iron, zinc, potassium, and some additional fiber: soy and legumes. But again, for the legumes, the beans, the lentils, the chickpeas, great superfoods, but I just wouldn't pair my entire diet around them. Supplements to consider: B12, D3, creatine. In our community, I've got a full supplement list built out. Or if you guys need help with this, you can DM me. I just didn't want to take too much time out of this presentation because I have 7 minutes left. So maybe take a look at this screen. Again, if you get the VIP tickets, you're going to get access to all of this whenever you want to come back and look. If you want to take notes here, I've listed out basically every source of protein that I can think of. So from soy side, we got protein powder, TVP, the Say Grace protein, tofu, edamame, soy curls, edamame puffs, tempeh, mock meats, soy milks. Pea, so like if you're allergic to soy does not cause estrogen issues. I already went over that on my last call. Just trust me on this, or reach out and I can confirm for you. But soy doesn't cause estrogen issues. But if you do have a true allergy, you might want to look at things like proteins. There's protein powders and mock meats made from pea. Rice, you can get protein powder from rice. Wheat, you can do seitan or other mock meats. Also, meaty, MEATI, they make a mushroom protein as well. So it might be another option. And then trace proteins that do add up. Like again, if you're trying to get 40, 50, 60 grams of protein a day, you might be able to get that from vegetables, nuts, seeds, whole grains, oats, nutritional yeast, peas, beans, legumes, oats, lupini bean or fava bean products. That's another protein one. The fava bean, like soy-free tofu, another really high protein source. So like, it's so hard to get protein as a vegan. I've made an entire sheet filled with vegan proteins. All right. Best carbs for cutting. So filling but not overly fibrous. Squash, zucchini, spinach. I say fresh is best because it takes up more volume. oats, berries, especially strawberries, cucumbers, melons. Edamame pasta can be good. And then the shirataki noodles, it's like very, very low carb. So you could build these things around in your diet, especially if you're starting to get more hungry. So like if white rice digests really well for you when you're on maintenance, you might want to switch to like potatoes when you first start your cut. And then if you're still getting hungry, take out the weight of the potatoes, or take the potatoes, remove those, and add something like squash or zucchini. It's going to be much more filling. You're going to feel like you're eating a lot more, still getting micronutrients, not be as hungry. So Ashley, you said you were hungry. I would take a look at this list and probably add some of these in. All right, next steps. I would recommend logging and tracking your food. It can work for me at 18. It can work for you too. Like if you aren't already logging or you haven't logged before, this is going to be your turn to learn how much calories are in what foods, what proteins are in what foods, and then also do that while finding out the foods that digest well for you. So if you guys want assistance, if you want more in-depth meal plans built out specifically for you, if you want training plans, video form reviews, accountability, communication, I would say you guys should definitely take advantage of the Vegan Squad coaching team here. We've done this with really like, duplicate slide. We've done this with hundreds of people over the years. Check out the chat. I'm going to have the team drop that in. 2026, we're giving out a free month of coaching to anybody that fills this out. We really want to help and support you on your goals. I know I've thrown a lot of information here. Hopefully you guys have picked up tips and tricks, but also if you want to move forward with speed into this next year and have a custom plan built out for you, that's what we're here to do. That's why we're putting this on. This is why we want to help the world with the whole Vegan Squad method and show the world that vegans can get jacked and fit and lose all the fat that they need. Here's some examples of people we've worked with, just to give you guys some of the ideas of the transformations that you could look to get. And now, I thought this was really punny. Any other questions that you are wrestling with? Because that was a photo of me back in the day as a little 14-year-old wrestler. So, seriously, guys, I really appreciate all your time here. I got like 3 minutes. So if anybody has anything else out there, throw it in the chat. I'll do my absolute best to get through it. And please click that link. We want to help you. We got a lot of people in here. I know a lot of you have already clicked it, but we got some new people in here that haven't yet. Ashley dropped another great protein source, textured pea protein, not textured vegetable protein, TVP, but TPP, textured pea protein. It's another really good one if you, for some reason, can't digest soy well or TVP doesn't digest well. Check out textured pea protein. The peony beans, a good way to replace chips. Oh, interesting, Shane. I might have to try that. I like chips. Okay, enjoy the class, David. Thank you so much for all you do, brother. And Jordan, yes, I'm so excited to work with you and get you to the stage. I mean, not everybody is going to be a bodybuilder here. Totally understand that. But for those of you that are, it is a great form of activism. When we put vegans on the stage, we show the world that there is nothing holding people back on a vegan diet. If you can be a vegan bodybuilder, you can also just be a vegan fit person. You can be a vegan that loses fat. Like, there's literally nothing holding you back here. So we got 2 minutes. I'm going to switch this back over. Can we help with medical issues like hormones interfering with weight progress? Yes, Candace, yes. We have some different experts on the team. We take and look at and review your blood work and then also address the specific issues that are facing you. So this would be something where we want to dive a little bit deeper to learn exactly what you need. So I would say go ahead, click that link, and let's at least talk. Let's make sure this is within our wheelhouse. It depends upon the specific issues facing you. I've helped numbers of clients over the years. And then also Allie, my life partner, she knows quite a bit about hormonal issues, especially around and related to menopause. And then we also have Coach Samara. So like between the three of us, we've got a wide umbrella that we can work with, and I would love to see how we can support you. And what I can say too is if for whatever reason I don't feel personally comfortable with the issue that you are facing, I know pretty much all the other vegan coaches in the world. I've been connecting with them for the last half a decade. I'd rather send you to somebody that can help you if we can't, but for so far, we've been pretty rock solid on helping people with their hormonal issues. Sometimes just fixing some of the training, the nutrition, the sleep, really locking those in, maybe possible supplementation, getting some blood work done, that can fix a lot of things. For some people, you take it deeper and do like hormonal therapy, but we'll need to learn a little bit more about you first. Yeah, the meaty mushroom steaks go well in a crock pot. I haven't tried them in a crock pot, but man, I was eating a lot of those. Myra, if you're eating 1,600 calories and 100 grams of protein, and you reach your protein before you hit the 1,600, should you keep eating to reach the 1,600 or stop? Great question. So there's different ways that we can build this out. If we are looking to, lose additional fat, and you're not hungry at that point in time, you might be able to just be like, okay, I'm in a little bit of a deeper deficit today, almost like as if you took an extra walk or something like that. Otherwise, if you really do want to hit your calorie goal, you have a few different options. You can eat more food or and avoid protein, or you can't even eat more protein to still hit that goal. I would say maybe that protein is a minimum and the calories are a maximum. So work your way up to that maximum and at least hit the minimum on the way. I got to go. If you guys have any other questions, you know how to reach me either in the community or on Instagram or on email or any other places.